Are we good, Jerry? Good afternoon. Welcome to the council meeting, Municipality of West Elgin for October the 12th, 2023, 4 p.m. I'll call this meeting to order. Obviously 4 p.m. Adoption of the agenda. I'm looking for a mover and seconder. Moved by Councillor Novakis and seconded by Councillor Denning. All in favor? Go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
That Council of the Municipality of West Elgin hereby adopts the agenda as presented.
So moved by Councillor Novakis and seconded by Councillor Denning, and all were in favor. Sorry about that. I'm ahead of myself already. Disclosure of any pecuniary interest from any of the councillors? Seeing none. Number 4 is public meeting pursuant to the Drainage Act, the Lamont Drain.
That Council of the Municipality of West Elgin hereby proceed into a public meeting pursuant to the Drainage Act.
Any mover and seconder for that? Councillor Denning. Councillor Statham, all in favor? That's so moved. Yeah.
Mr. Spreet, you have the floor.
Thank you. So, thank you, Your Worship. Tonight's meeting or this afternoon's meeting is the consideration of the Lamont drain. The Lamont's an existing drain. It was last reconstructed in 1953. And at that time, they simply took the old drain that was constructed in 1940 and relaid it. So it's in a very poor state of disrepair. It's in lots of places only 0.3 meters deep, so which doesn't provide any drainage to the adjacent land. So what we're proposing to do with this drain tonight is to essentially construct a new drain, starting at the open ditch, which is referred to as the drain number 2, through the McPhail lands, across McLean line, through the Jilks lands, over across Black's line and into the Johnson lands. So this drain will service all those lands on it. It'll provide them a proper outlet. A lot of the lands adjacent to McLean line don't have a proper outlet, especially the Jilks lands. They have a wet area in their field that just keeps growing and growing and growing because the existing drain isn't working. So we're proposing to replace that drain and provide people with an outlet. And essentially, it's 800 meters of closed tile drain, ranging in size from 18-inch diameter at the bottom end to 300 millimeters at the top end. Are there any questions?
Thank you for that, Mr. Spreet. Any questions from anyone? Seeing none. Do you want to add anything? Do you want to add anything? Do you have anything to add?
Nope.
Tom? No.
Hi, John. I'm here. You can't see me on the camera, maybe.
I can. Yeah.
No, we've had our preliminary meetings. Everybody's on board, and I had my phone calls from the landowners today that said they couldn't come, but nothing's changed as far as what you've designed. So I think we're right on track. Everything is good.
All right. Thank you for that. We'll go ahead with the recommendation, clerk.
That the Council of the Municipality of West Elgin hereby receives the engineer's report as prepared and presented by Mr. J.M. Spreet, professional engineer, and that council authorizes staff to initiate the tender process in accordance with the Drainage Act, if required, for the reconstruction to the municipal drain known as the Lamont Drain to be considered by a council following the quarter revision, and that council consider the provisional bylaw 2023-92 as presented in the bylaw portion of the agenda for the first and second reading.
Thank you. And a mover and seconder for that. Councillor Denning, Councillor Novakis, and all in favor? And it's so carried. An adjournment of the public meeting pursuant to the Drainage Act.
That Council of the Municipality of West Elgin hereby adjourn the public meeting pursuant to the Drainage Act.
A mover and a seconder. Councillor Novakis, Councillor Statham, all in favor? That is so carried. On to number 5, a public meeting for planning.
That Council of the Municipality of West Elgin proceed into a public meeting pursuant to the Planning Act.
Move for a seconder for that. Okay. Counselor Statham, Counselor Navakis, all in favor? Is so carried. Mr. Brown, you have a floor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Good afternoon, Council. The first application before you is for a property located at 26321 Korean Line in West Elgin. In earlier this year, June of this year, the Land Division Committee approved the severance of an existing dwelling on the property. And one of the conditions, as Council is aware, is rezoning of the property. The lot is rezoned from the current A1 to an A3 to recognize its non-farm use. And the remnant farm parcel itself is rezoned to prohibit any future dwellings. It will continue to permit regular agricultural buildings, just not a dwelling. I guess I'll go through the first part here. The provincial policy, the county official plan, local official plan are all in compliance. The zoning actually brings the consent into compliance as a condition. During the review process on this particular property, the county planner brought to our attention that there was some concern by one of the Land Division Committee members that the condition of the house was questionable. I attended the site, reviewed the house, was initially in agreement that it was perhaps not in the best of condition, and consulted with the chief building official to determine what criteria were potentially used to determine the habitability of a dwelling. We went over those. I also went back and looked at our official plan, and essentially what it says in it, under the surplus dwelling farm policies, item B under section 629, the dwelling is structurally sound and suitable or potentially made suitable for human occupancy. That's not a standard way to word that. Normally habitability is it's simply just it's habitable now. The problem is that definition is not really clear to most building departments, including our own. So in going through it, certain questions were asked. Does the house have water? It does have access to municipal water. Is the septic system functioning? That's been reviewed and passed. And is it structurally sound? From my review and the chief building official's review of it, it was determined that the dwelling, although it may not look particularly pretty, was structurally sound. It does require some attention, and it is the intention of the applicant to fix the dwelling up. In fact, one of the reasons no work had been done on the house up to this point was they wanted to make sure that the Land Division Committee would actually approve the severance prior to spending money on the property, and it will take a certainly significant amount of work to bring the house up to proper standards. But at the end of the day, it was deemed to comply with the official plan. There was not a unanimous agreement with that with the Land Division Committee. However, the majority of the members did approve it. So with that, unless there's questions from council, that is all I have.
Any questions from council? Seeing none.
That West Elgin Council hereby receives the report from Robert Brown, planner, regarding zoning bylaw amendment application D-14 18 2023 26321 Crinan Line recommendation report, planning report 2023-42, and that West Elgin Council approve the rezoning of 26321 Crinan Line from general agricultural A1 zone to agricultural A2 zone and restricted agricultural A3 zone in accordance with the attached draft bylaw. And further, that West Elgin Council consider the bylaw to amend the zoning bylaw as presented in the bylaw portion of the October 12th, 2023 council agenda.
Need a mover and seconder on that recommendation. Councilor Navakis, Councilor Statham, all in favor? That's so carried. 5.2 is zoning bylaw amendment application D-14 16-2023.
This application is located at 22830 Kintyre Line. It's a surplus dwelling severance. This was presented to the Land Division Committee in July of this year and approved with the attached condition that the severed parcel be rezoned and the remnant parcel be rezoned. In this particular instance, the farm will be rezoned to A2. The severed parcel will be rezoned to a site-specific A3-8. The reason for that is the dwelling and the buildings are located a fair distance from the road on the other side of an open drain. And in order to not impact or include actively farmed land, we requested the access be narrowed. Sorry, I shouldn't say the access be narrowed, but the lot be narrowed around the access point in order to minimize any farmland inclusion or loss, which results in a hammerhead lot in this particular instance and reduces the frontage from the standard 30-meter requirement down to 15. Hence the change in the zoning. Beyond that, provincial policy, county official plan, local official plan are all in compliance as a result of the requested zoning. And unless there's questions from council, that is all I have on that one.
Bring to the floor. Any questions from council on that? Seeing none, clerk.
That West Elgin Council hereby receives the report from Robert Brown, planner, regarding zoning bylaw amendment application D14-16-2023 22830 Kintyre Line recommendation report, planning report 2023-41, and that West Elgin Council approved the rezoning for 22830 Kintyre Line from general agricultural A1 zone to agricultural A2 zone and restricted agricultural special regulation 8 A3-8 zone in accordance with the attached draft bylaw, and further that West Elgin Council consider the bylaw to amend the zoning bylaw as presented in the bylaw portion of the October 12th, 2023 council agenda.
I'll move into seconder. Councillor Denning, Councillor Statham, all in favor? That is so carried. 5.3 zoning bylaw amendment application D-14 19-2023. Mr. Brown, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. This application is located at 25785 McMurchie Line. Again, this is an application that was presented to the Land Division Committee back in May of 2023 and was approved with the condition that the severed parcel be rezoned to A3 and the remnant parcel be rezoned to the restricted A2 zone to prohibit dwellings. The only real difference in this application as opposed to the other two really is the size of the lot. This particular lot is a bit larger than what you would normally see for surplus dwelling severances that are usually around 1 to 2 acres. This property contains a large wooded area, which the applicant or the current owner wanted to retain essentially because they use and sort of manage that wooded area around the house for personal purposes. Since it is something that we want to certainly encourage people to preserve and protect wooded areas, being that West Elgin certainly does have a large amount of tree cover. We want to continue to encourage that. And as such, there wasn't any concern with including that wooded area around there. The lot doesn't include any actively farmed land. So it's not removing anything from the farm. All of the workable land there is on the property now will remain with the purchasing farmer. There's no provincial policy statement concerns. This is a natural heritage feature. Obviously, there's no additional development proposed within the wooded area. Anything that is constructed in that area in the future will require consultation with the Conservation Authority, and depending on what it is, may require additional consultation with other ministries, but that can certainly be dealt with at the time. The county official plan and local official plan will be in compliance with approval of the zoning, and unless there's questions from council, that is all I have.
No questions on the floor? Seeing none.
That West Elgin Council hereby receives the report from Robert Brown, planner, regarding zoning bylaw amendment D-14-19-2023 at 25785 McMurchie Line, recommendation report, planning report 2023-43, and that West Elgin Council approve the rezoning of 25785 McMurtry Line from General Agricultural A1 to Agricultural A2 zone and Restricted Agricultural A3 zone in accordance with the attached draft bylaw. And further, that West Elgin Council consider the bylaw to amend the zoning bylaw as presented in the bylaw portion of the October 12th, 2023 council agenda.
Looking for a mover and seconder on that recommendation. Councilor Novakis, Councilor Statham, all in favor? So carried. Moving on to 5.4, adjournment of the public meeting pursuant to the Planning Act.
That Council of the Municipality of West Elgin hereby adjourn a public meeting pursuant to the Planning Act.
A mover and a seconder. Councilor Denning, Councilor Statham, all in favor? So carried. Number 6 on our agenda is staff report planning. Robert, you have the floor.
Thank you. The application in this instance is located at 23625 Pioneer Line. This is the first step in severing a dwelling that is surplus to the prospective purchaser for the property. What's being proposed in this particular instance is a lot to contain the existing building and dwelling that are on the property. The size of the lot is 1.45 acres. The remnant that would be left is 187.2 acres. The one thing that we did come across when working on this, and it doesn't really impact the severance itself, but there was a retirement lot taken off of this property back in 2003. And as a result of that, that lot obviously was rezoned to rural residential classification, but the remnant farm parcel was actually rezoned to the restricted A2 zone, which came as a bit of a surprise given the fact that there's still a dwelling on the property. And effectively that zoning amendment rendered the house and building, well, the house at least on the property, essentially legal non-conforming. Not a huge issue, probably not the approach you would normally take. I do know that some municipalities, when retirement lots were kind of starting to wind down, and that was a couple of years before they did, quite often would rezone what was left over on the property to prevent any additional dwellings. They were certainly within their right to do that. All that basically has done in this particular instance means that the severed parcel will need to be rezoned from A2 to A3, but the remnant parcel is already zoned A2. So makes my job a little easier in terms of report writing. Aside from that, there are no other issues. The lot is clearly surplus to the prospective purchaser, and they have demonstrated that. So it's in compliance with provincial policy, the county and local official plan. And there are no other issues to bring forward to council. So unless there's questions, that's all I have.
Any questions from council? Councilor Denning?
Thank you. Through the chair. Mr. Brown, was it a provincial declaration to wind down the whole retirement lot concept, or was that a municipal decision?
Through you, Madam Chair, to the councillor's question, that was a provincial directive back in 2005 when provincial policy changed at that time. What essentially had occurred was there was a review of retirement lots, and effectively that provision in provincial policy was being blatantly abused. There were farmers who were retiring multiple times. There was actually a study carried out that found that after a certain amount of time, over 70% of the retirement lots that had been severed over I think it was a 20-year time frame, were actually no longer in the ownership of the retiring farmer. They had been simply sold off and conveyed to somebody else as a lot. So the province said, enough's enough. This is being abused. We're not going to permit this anymore.
Thank you.
Any other questions from council at all? And I'll have our clerk read a recommendation, please.
That West Elgin Council hereby receives the report from Robert Brown, planner, regarding severance application file E74-23, comments to Elgin County Planning Report 2023-44, and that West Elgin Council hereby recommends approval to the Land Division Committee of the County of Elgin for severance application file E74-23, subject to the lower tier municipal conditions in Appendix 2 of this report. And further, that West Elgin Council directs administration to provide this report as municipal comments to the County of Elgin.
Thank you for that. And I move into seconder. Councillor Denning, Councillor Statham, all in favor? That is so carried. Move on to number 7 of our agenda, the adoption of the minutes.
That Council of the Municipality of West Elgin hereby adopts the minutes of the council meeting of September 28th, 2023 as circulated and printed.
Mover and seconder for those minutes. Councillor Navakis, Councillor Statham, and all in favor? It's so carried. Any business arising from those minutes? Seeing none, we'll go on to the consent agenda, number 9 on our agenda. Anything anybody wants to look at? Councillor Navakis.
Through the chair, I'd like to pull out 9.1.2 and 9.1.5.
Anything else from the other two councillors? No.
That Council of the Municipality of West Elgin hereby adopt the consent agenda for October 12th, 2023 as presented.
Mover and seconder. Councillor Navakis. Statham, all in favor? It's so carried. We're down to 10 staff reports. So 10.1 is emergency management.
So this is just more a reminder for the committee that the annual exercise is going to be taking place next Tuesday on October 17th at the Dutton Community Center with the title A Storm is Coming. So under legislation, it is required that we have at minimum the mayor, deputy mayor, CAO, CEMC, who is part of Elgin County, operations and community service manager, a fire representative, clerk/scribe, and an emergency information officer in attendance. Over the course of the next couple months, I will be working with the Elgin County, the current CEMC, to get our plan a little bit more up to date with current legislation. So stay tuned for some more training and to make sure that we are in compliance for the year of 2023. Are there any questions at all from council?
Councillor Denning.
Thank you. Through the chair. So I see that the mayor and the deputy mayor are required to be there, but the rest of us councillors are able to participate if we're available.
I do believe so, but I can get that answer for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And the recommendation?
That Council of the Municipality of West Elgin hereby receives the report from Terry Toshchuk, clerk, as information only.
Mover and seconder for that. Councillor Denning, Councillor Statham, sorry, I keep getting your name wrong. And all those in favor? And that is so carried. 10.1 operations and community services, electric boom lift is the first thing on.
Good afternoon, Deputy Mayor and Council. So we have a report here as part of the 2023 budget. We had set money aside for a towable boom lift to be for the Operations and Community Services Department. Couple things here. Obviously, through the years, there have been certain activities that we've done that we have to do each year, as far as like putting up Christmas or holiday decorations, small pruning to trees, things like that, where we would have to outsource that to somebody that had a bucket truck. So we're utilizing a specialized contractor, such as an electrician or an arborist, to come in and put up holiday decorations. So obviously the cost associated with that was more than, if we were doing that, if we were able to do that ourselves. So we put money in for this lift. We did spec it as being electric. So it's fully electric, no emissions. We can use this piece of equipment inside the facilities as well. So the rec center for changing light bulbs, so staff can do that themselves. So we do have training scheduled on this piece of equipment for our staff to make sure that we're compliant in that regards. And in looking at the one thing that we ran into with this piece of equipment this year is availability. Many of the companies that we went to as part of the RFP process couldn't even give us a quote. They wouldn't provide a price. Their items were, you know, a year to 18 months out for delivery, so they couldn't supply a quote. So anyways, we did find 3 companies to get comparative prices. Like I said in the report, the unit from CanLift in London is $350 more than the same unit if we were to purchase through United Rentals, but they're saying 3 weeks. We've had some issues with delivery times being longer than expected, obviously, recently. And so with the holiday season upon us, if we weren't to receive that item in 3 weeks, we would be back to hiring a contractor to install decorations. And also the price is going to fluctuate. It would be based at the time of delivery. So depending on what that exchange rate does, you know, over the course of the next 3 to 4 weeks could change that final price. So that's what we're recommending, is that JLG T350 from CanLift of London.
Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Any discussion from the councillors on the floor? Councillor Denning?
Thank you, Your Worship, Your Deputy Worship, and through the chair. Lee, this unit is trailered from location to location, and if that's the case, do we have a trailer that will accommodate that, or is that going to be another purchase?
No, through the chair. Actually, so this is a towable boom lift. So this will go right on behind. It has a hitch so they can be pulled by a 1/2-ton pickup. It has its own wheels, its own outriggers. It's its own self-contained unit, so it can be just hooked onto and towed to wherever needed. So there's no additional equipment required.
Perfect. Thank you.
Any other questions, Councillor?
Through the chair, Lee, what is the height of that unit?
So the 350, what we looked at as far as range of height, that is a 35-foot platform. So they add 6 feet as a working height. So you could easily reach something that would be 40 feet. So based on the types of things that we plan on doing with it, as far as, you know, in downtown with decorations, facility maintenance, things like that, that we feel that was, once you go to the next step, you're into a 51 foot. And it takes a huge jump in price. You're going from 44,000 to about 75,000 for that. And we just didn't feel that was, if we're into something where we're working at those kinds of heights, we'll stay with a contractor for that.
Thank you.
Any other comments? No? Okay, the recommendation from our clerk, please.
That West Elgin Council hereby receives the report from Lee Gosnell, Manager of Operation and Community Services, and that West Elgin Council approve the purchase of one new JLG T350 electric boom lift from CanLift Equipment Limited for the quoted price of $44,000 plus applicable tax.
Mover and seconder for that recommendation. Councillor Statham, Councillor Novakis, and all in favor? And so carried. 10.22 loader 6 disposal. Lee?
Yep. So through the chair, just to provide a little bit of background, the municipality does currently operate 2-wheel loaders, 2 John Deere wheel loaders. The older of the 2, which we call loader 6, was purchased by Aldborough Township back in 1993. In 2007, there was a new loader purchased. At that time, the municipality had a program of building the road bases. So as most of you are aware, we own our own gravel pits on Johnston Line. And that program took a lot of time. Staff spent 2 to 3 months each summer screening gravel in the pit when they were utilizing a lot of it for that road building project. So at that time, they needed that second loader, because with one loader working in the pit all summer, they needed that second loader for other operations around the municipality. So obviously 1993, that piece of equipment's now 30 years old. It's served the municipality well through the years, but like all things, there's a time when you have to look at it and say, you know, are we going to throw good money after bad? And I believe that, you know, we've kept up the unit through the years, but it's at that point now where it's just, you know, normal wear and tear. The bucket has holes worn right through it that need to be replaced. It has a serious leak now that's just shown up in the front axle. With a piece of equipment that old, if we took that into Brant to have that serviced, we talked to the service manager there, and he was very, forthcoming that the cost of the parts and the labor to fix those seals is about $7,500. But because of the age of the machine and pitting with the axles and whatnot, from being in the salt over the years, that there's no guarantee that seal would last. It could last for a month, it could last for a year. So, and with all the other small leaks, worn pins, worn bushings, as I say in my report here, we could very easily just to get that piece of equipment back to something that I would feel comfortable using on a daily basis. We're going to be into over $20,000 there, and it certainly is not worth that anymore. So, we have three options that we can look at. We put the money into it and see what we can get out of it. I don't like the idea of just continually using it until something happens, because it's one thing if it's less efficient, it's a different thing if that major event is a safety concern, right? Which it very well could be. And then the third one is to declare the unit surplus, and while it is still functioning, put it on the market and see what we can get for it. And we don't, the road building program now is pretty well wound down, so we don't have that need to have that second unit like there was in the past. So I feel that's why we've made the recommendation that I think it's time that we put that piece of equipment up for sale and get rid of it while it still is worth a little something.
Any questions from council? Counselor?
How much do we think it's worth? And the only reason why I ask is that I do have someone in my life who likes to say we're going to auction things off, and I'm just wondering whether for staff time, just scrap it and get the money.
Through the chair, to answer Councillor Novak's question, it's really hard to tell. We would utilize GovDeals, which is the same service that we've utilized for other pieces of equipment like this in the past. We've looked at other similar pieces of equipment that have sold on the site over the course of the last 12 months. It's a wide range. We do have the motor in this loader was rebuilt a few years back. So chances are that the purchaser is not going to purchase it for the loader as a whole. They're going to purchase it for a component of the loader that may be either hard to find because of the age, or something that has been worked on that they can take out of that and put into something else. But it really doesn't cost us anything other than a little bit of staff time to put the pictures and the stuff together to advertise that. And I think that we would get more. Certainly we can put a reserve bid on that, a hidden reserve, but I certainly think that we stand to do better off of putting it to auction than we would by just sending it for scrap.
Is that the question you had, Councillor Statham?
It is.
Okay. No other questions? If the clerk would so read the recommendation, please.
That West Elgin Council hereby receives the report from Lee Gosnell, Manager of Operations and Community Services, and that West Elgin Council declare loader number 6 surplus to the municipality's needs and approve its sale by online auction.
I move in a seconder for that recommendation. Councillor Novakis, Councillor Statham, and all in favor? So carried. 10.2.3 Miller Park Playground Equipment. Lee?
Thank you. Through the chair. So Miller Park here in West Lorne, which is surrounded or it lies around the arena, it currently has two distinct sets of playground equipment associated with it. There is what we would call Playground 1, which is the playground equipment which lies right adjacent to the arena parking area, just on the south edge of the arena parking lot. That's the older set, the original set that's been in Miller Park. And then obviously we have Playground 2, which is the new accessible playground that was purchased and donated by the West Lorne Optimist Club. And that sits in the center of Miller Park, now adjacent to the splash pad and the pavilion and the washrooms. So each year we do a formal inspection of the playground equipment at the various different recreational facilities in the municipality. And this year it was determined through that that's done by a company out of London called PlayCheck. And it was determined that there were some deficiencies with that old set of equipment that need to be addressed. That, just a bit of background with that was back in 1985, I believe. The West Lorne Optimus donated a small piece or a small set of playground equipment to go in that area, and with the fence around it at that time. It was there for a number of years, and then around the time of amalgamation, because of the age of that set and the construction of it, there were new rules in place. There was an upgraded set put in there to bring it more up to standard of the day. But obviously that was, 25 years ago now. So the set that's there is showing its age. There are deficiencies with a few of the features on that set that can only be corrected by just removing the feature altogether and either going without that feature or purchasing a new feature to be installed with that. And speaking with some of the West Lorne Optimus Club members, obviously we all feel that it is redundant having two sets of playground equipment within a few hundred yards of each other in Miller Park. And with staff working in the park on a regular basis, they see that, the vast majority, 99% of the people that come to Miller Park are going to use that new accessible set that's in the center of the park there. And the other part to this is, as council may remember from budget deliberations over the last two budgets now, in 2022 and now in 2023, we have been setting money aside each year for a new recreational multi-use pad. Staff have identified that area where the old playground is adjacent to the parking lot to be an excellent spot for that multi-use pad. We have good parking, ample parking. We have access to hydro for lighting for that pad. So anyways, yeah, I think that's why that is why what we're recommending is to remove the old playground set, and then moving forward when the decision is made to actually construct that multi-use pad, that area will be ready at that time to eliminate the features that have to be removed in order to bring the set into compliance. At this point right now, there really would be nothing left in there. So if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer.
How about the timing of the use of the multi-use pad? Do we have an idea on that, or?
The original plan was a 3-year plan. So to set money aside in 2022, 2023, and then put the required amount of money into the 2024 budget to actually follow through with construction next year.
Okay. Anything from council? Councillor Denning?
Thank you, through the chair. So I think it's a wonderful, good, solid plan. Just two questions. Have we, and if not, can we look in to see if there are any physical exercise grants that are currently available to help with the costs of this, even though I know we have money set aside, perhaps there's something else there. And number two, I think it'd be really important when we start knocking down that equipment to make sure that the community knows what we're up to before we start doing it.
Yeah, communication is key. Good point. Any other? Councillor Navakis?
Through the chair, what's the scrap value on the equipment?
Through the chair, that's something, obviously the equipment that's been found deficient, according to the report, we would look to just, that would be destroyed so that nobody can get hurt on it. Yeah. What's left there, I really don't think there's a whole lot. We can look at, at the time when it's taken out there, we can look at options for that.
I think she's jesting because people are going to say, couldn't the municipality got money for that metal? You know, that's what's going to happen. So if the clerk would so read that, that'd be great. The recommendation.
That West Elgin Council hereby receives the report from Lee Gosnell, Manager of Operations and Community Services. And that West Elgin Council declare Playground 1 equipment in Miller Park adjacent to the arena parking area surplus. And that West Elgin Council directs staff to remove and dispose of Playground 1 equipment as soon as possible.
Moving to seconder, Councillor Denning, Councillor Statham, all in favor? And that is so carried. On to 10.3 for the clerk here. Affordable Housing Task Force options.
So thank you through the chair. This was brought to council at the last regular meeting and it was deferred until today to think about the options a little bit further. So I did have the opportunity I did send out an email to all the neighboring municipalities. Unfortunately, I only heard back from one of the other clerks who indicated that it was still to go to their council. And then we've also received a follow-up communication from AMO indicating that they urge all members who received a letter from the minister, including those without provincial housing targets, to meet the deadline, which is on Monday, to remain eligible for investments under the Building Faster Fund. So we certainly want to make sure that we submit on time to ensure receipt of those funds. So this will now just be a discussion between council as to which direction for the 5 options they would like to go with. And I will have those submitted by Monday.
Thank you for that. Councillor Denning?
Well, I have 3.
Good.
That I'd certainly be comfortable sharing with the with council of all the different ones. Number 8, encourage and incentivize municipalities to increase density in areas with excess school capacity to benefit families with children.
Mm-hmm.
Number 27, simplify planning legislation and policy documents. And 47, eliminate or reduce tax disincentives to housing growth. Those are my 3.
Thank you for that. Other councillors have any thoughts or deliberation on that? No. Crickets. I was interested in number 40, waive development charges on all forms of affordable housing guaranteed to be affordable for, I think 40 years is a bit much, but I'm not sure how we would work around that for it seems like a sticky one, but I was interested in that one too. What were you guys looking at there? I'm not sure how 40 years would look though. That's the only thing 40 years is a long time.
I have one as well through the chair.
Yeah, Magda.
When I reviewed that report, one item that came to that is affecting our municipality is funding. So I think they need to provide funding to municipalities to invest in sanitary water and storm sewers. That's our 100% priority.
What number was that?
Oh,
I just saw it too. I think it was 49. Funding for pilot products? No. Yeah, I just saw it, but I've lost it now. Councillor Vacas?
Through the chair, I do like 49, while maybe not directly affecting our community. If we're looking at the greater housing issue, innovative pathways for home ownership, can't go wrong with them. Now, what those will be, we will see.
Magda, was the one you're speaking of number 50? Oh no, that's loan guarantees. Oh yeah, it's 52.
52?
Yes.
Yeah. Richard, your thoughts? You there?
Was that mine?
Richard, do you have anything to add to the discussion?
Yes, if you can hear me.
Yes, we can. Go ahead. You have the floor.
Okay, thank you. Well, obviously we've got to get grants. We know we've got ground that can come and help us, but now we've got to go to the province and to the federals and get something positive going, because our sewerage and water is a must, and we also know that the stormwater is also taking that over. So until such times as we can get the Rob Flax and people like that over, then, and we talk to them. I had an opportunity to go today to dinner with him, but unfortunately you can see my condition. But anyway, it was an ideal, and he said he would talk again sometime. So we've really got to pursue this, because there are things on the table and we can't miss this one. Thank you.
So far we have 52, 8, 24. I feel like I'm a linebacker. 47. And what other ones we should, I believe there was another one mentioned. Oh yeah, sorry, 28, 27, 47. 52. Was it 49? Was the other one mentioned? I'm not sure. Yep. Number 40. I think 8. Does everyone agree? 8. Let's start from the top. 8 is extremely important. Yes, that's a priority for sure. 27. Let's go in order, I guess. Simplifying the legislation policy documents. Where are we now? 40. That one's a little broad, so I'm not sure how the 40 would work.
Through the chair, I also think 27 is a little broad. Like, what does that even mean? How will that help? And have we talked to any planning departments to see if they feel this is what's necessary? I'd move that one to the bottom of my list.
So 40 and 27 are at the bottom right now. So 47. I'm doing this in order, I think. Eliminate reduced tax disincentives to housing growth. Is that the one we had as well? 47. Okay. Councillor Denny, go ahead.
We've got 6 and we need 5. Certainly,
yeah, we're trying to
hit my 27, number 27, because it is very broad. So
I was thinking the one I suggested was broad as well. So
through the chair, my concern with eliminate or reduce tax disincentives being on there is that how this government has gone about that has gotten rid of development charges that the municipalities are able to make money on. And so what I'm wondering is, whose taxes are they reducing? And as a municipality who already struggles with a small budget, what does that mean? Like, I wish there was more clarification about this, but I would worry about us eliminating or reducing taxes of developers who are building houses in our community.
That makes sense.
But through the chair, it sounds very much like to me, like we're feeding the bigger guys, and we have to watch that.
Okay, so we decided on the 5. We know.
Through the chair, I have number 8, number 47, number 40, number 49, and number 52.
How does council feel about those decisions to submit for Monday on your short timeline? I'm sorry we made it a short timeline. We just need more time to think about it. So I appreciate you indulging us. Any other discussion? Everyone seems okay with that? Okay, so the recommendation, please.
That Council of the Municipality of West Elgin hereby receives the report from Terry Toshchuk, Clerk, regarding Housing Affordability Task Force's recommendation updated, and that Council directs staff to submit the following recommendations as discussed. Number 8, encourage and incentivize municipalities to increase density in areas with excess school capacity to benefit families with children. Number 47, eliminate or reduce tax disincentives to housing growth. Number 40, waive development charges on all forms of affordable housing guaranteed to be affordable for 40 years. Number 49, funding for pilot projects that create innovative pathways to home ownership for Black, Indigenous, and marginalized people in first-generation homeowners. And number 52, work with municipalities to develop and implement a municipal services corporation utility model for water and wastewater under which the municipal corporation would borrow and amortize costs among customers instead of using development charges.
Mover and seconder for that recommendation. Councillor Denning. Statham, all in favor? So carried.
In favor.
Thank you, Richard. 10.3.2, Arvi Development Inc. land transfer.
Thank you, Council, and through the chair. So this was brought to my attention last week. I received an email from the law office who was looking after this land transfer back in 2019. So back in 2019, the bylaw was approved to sell the land to Arvi Developments. However, there was never an actual land transfer done. So that was done in April of 2019, where council declared the lands surplus and passed that bylaw. However, if you look up a title search today, which the law office did provide to me, it still shows that it is in the municipality's name. So they have sent the agreement and just asked that we have signed off on the agreement. So I have included as well an updated bylaw specifically just to enter into that agreement. Does council have any questions about that at all?
Seeing none, you can go ahead with recommendation, please.
Okay. That Council of the Municipality of West Elgin hereby receives the report from Terry Toshchuk, Clerk, and that council hereby authorize the mayor and clerk to sign the acknowledgement and direction agreement, land transfer agreement pertaining to the April 2019 agreement of purchase and sale between Arvi Development Inc. and the Municipality of West Elgin for formal land transfer, and further that the agreement and direction be approved in the bylaw portion of the meeting.
Mover and seconder for that, please. Councillor Novakis. Councillor Statham, all in favor? And is so moved. Number 11 on our agenda is accounts. Everyone's had a chance to look at the accounts that came beginning of the week. No questions from the floor? Everyone's had their questions answered? Okay, we'll go ahead with the recommendation when you have time.
That the mayor and treasurer are hereby authorized to sign payment voucher number 10, amounting to $1,794,630.84 in settlement of general, road, water, and arena accounts, including EFT 7239 to 7284, online payments number 1250 to 1252, check number 26303 to 26308, and payroll pay period 20.
Moving to seconder for the accounts. Denning and Novakis, a second. And all in favor? So moved. And number 12, council inquiries or announcements. Councilor Novakis.
Through the chair, I received a letter again, and I know that I am supporting the health center's Christmas dinner. They were not funded by their usual funders this year, so I know that they've reached out to local farms and local businesses who are covering it. I am just wondering if there is any way council, the municipality could offer any support to this really great initiative.
Any thoughts from council? Councillor Denny?
Through the chair, where do they host this dinner?
St. Mary's, it said.
It's at St. Mary's. They do it every year. And in the past, I think federal or no provincial governments have been supporting them, but they got zero funding this year. It's for people in our community who may not get a Christmas dinner.
It says on the flyer that the municipality of Dutton Dunwich has supported it. They're doing in conjunction with them.
Through the chair.
Go ahead, Richard.
I don't know whether, you know, this is legal or not, but I do grow a lot of potatoes. And if they need potatoes, I could certainly supply them with a few bushels if they need them. So that's my offer if they can use them.
Thank you for that. Yeah.
Through the chair, my understanding is that they have filled all their food donations. I'm just wondering in our community fund if there was anything left that maybe we could supply something a little bit above and beyond what they're already offering, or let them kind of pick what they're doing.
Through the chair, it's certainly something that we can look into and bring it back for the next meeting to provide a report. No problem.
Any other council inquiries or announcements? Thank you for that, Councillor Vakis. Clerk?
So through the chair, I did have an inquiry and I did send out an email just before the council meeting. We did have a request to put on our electronic sign for an event that is happening at the Elgin International Club. It is called the Don't Drag Us Down Drag Bingo, and it's happening this Saturday. So with the short time period, I just wanted to send that to council for them to give me the blessing to go ahead and advertise that on our municipal sign. It does not go against the electronic sign policy as well.
Okay. Any discussion from council on that? Councillor Denny?
I think it's good that you brought this up, because it was earlier this year, late last fall, that council denied a sign request because they did not fall within the parameters of the sign policy. So I just want to make sure that we go on record saying that we do in fact have a sign policy, that staff has looked at that, and as worthy as that other group that was denied has been, it fell without. I think it was because it was a religious aspect to it, and this is not. So just to make sure that everybody in the community understands that there is a policy and this is following it. So based on that, I'm very comfortable supporting this.
I can read a recommendation. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Through the chair, the reason why we decided to bring this a request to council's attention is, in our community, it might get controversial. So as long as council is prepared to enter the phone calls, staff is fine with that.
Yeah, unless I've time traveled to the 1950s, it's 2023. And if someone doesn't enjoy the event, they can stay home and read the newspaper, watch television. So go ahead, Councillor Vakis.
Well, I think that Bill also brought this up. We have a sign policy. And so if I maybe don't agree with another event, if it fits the policy, then it fits the policy. And so it should go up.
Thank you. The recommendation, please, clerk.
Yeah. That council of the municipality of West Elgin approve the electronic sign posting for Don't Drag Us Down Drag Bingo on October 14th, 2023.
Mover to seconder for that. Councillor Denny, Councillor Statham, all in favor? So carried. Am I correct in saying we're going on to 12.1? Yeah. If you can discuss that, that'd be great.
So a notice of motion was received by Councillor Navakis on October 6th. That council requests staff to investigate the potential for future medium to high density residential use on lands located on Furnival Road in the town of Rodney, currently owned by the municipality, as well as neighboring property currently for sale.
Want to speak to that, Councillor Navakis?
Through the chair, as we've just discussed ways to encourage housing. We have two properties that have come up for sale on either side of Furnival Road in Rodney proper. I think that as small municipalities and in any municipalities, it's incredibly difficult to encourage the type of development you want. These properties, in my opinion, lend themselves to high density residential, which I think our community is in desperate need of. And so looking at whether or not we can change the zoning and seeing if that may attract a developer who would help us build what the community actually needs.
Okay, we need a mover and seconder on this before we have any discussion on it, though. Is that correct?
Any debate on it.
Any debate, sorry, I used the wrong word.
Yeah.
So mover seconder. Councillor Denning? Councillor Statham? Need to second it. And all in favor, yeah.
Yeah, and any debate on it at all?
Can be had, yeah.
Okay.
Councillor Denning?
Thank you, through the chair. Wonderful idea that's been presented by Councillor Navakis. And I don't want to muddy the waters here, but I just want to ask the question. Is this something we want to explore in a more general sense for both of the village settlements? Because perhaps there will be opportunities in both communities for a second look at higher density, as opposed to just spending time and resources looking at those 2 or 3 pieces of property. Can we look at the entire community of West Elgin and what the possibility is, the feasibility of facilitating higher density residential?
Councillor Navakis?
Through the chair, and I think maybe Robert would be able to answer this for us, and he's not here. My concern with that, and I do think that is something we should.
Robert, Robert. He's kind of like Pokeroo that way.
And so, Robert, correct me if I'm wrong. I think that an overall look at both communities would take much longer than looking at these 2 properties that are currently sitting for sale. So my fear is if we take longer to look at the entire picture of West Elgin, these owners may sell under current conditions and we could end up with industrial or whatever it's currently zoned for buying the properties.
Through the chair to the councillor's question, you're exactly right. It would take some time to consider other properties. There's more of an opportunity for community input. Not all properties that we might consider appropriate for high density, neighbors might not be in agreement with that, so it would certainly drag that out. These 2 properties are up for sale. They're fairly well located, and I think the community would look, and the property owners themselves and the neighbors would probably look. I don't want to prejudge it, but would probably look fairly favorably on having those lands rezoned to something that is more helpful to the community and better for that area, kind of rejuvenate it, since the rail's gone, the grain elevator's gone, and it's kind of a sort of a blank space in the edge of the community. So
thank you for that, Robert. Any other discussion on that? Debate? Okay, thank you. Yeah, we already read it. Okay, so we move on to our bylaws or statements, inquiries by councillors. Councillor Statham?
Just a.
Oh, wait, hold it. All in favor? Yeah. So we already had a mover and a seconder, and then we had our debate about it, discussion about it. So now we need to be all in favor, correct? Yep. All in favor? And that is so carried. Okay, statements and inquiries by councillors. Councillor Statham, go ahead.
Yeah, so I just wanted to, I had a meeting this week with the housing committee. And one of the topics that came up, just to keep council in the loop, was a property located in Rodney on Center Street, at the corner of Center and Fletcher's. So it's an 8.3 acre property. The current owner is considering selling that particular property. And she brought that to the housing committee. And one of the things that the current owner would like to do is investigate affordable housing in that location. Currently the committee is still looking at, what that would mean and trying to do a little bit of research on different options that are available, as well as potential funding from, the Ontario government. So I just wanted to bring that forward and let the rest of council know that was something that was in the works, just to keep everybody in the loop.
Great. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. In the past, also, we used to put our agendas and our minutes ahead to the clerk so that everybody had it. So we all kind of could read those if we needed to. So maybe we should get back into doing that if that's okay. So anything you have, we just had it all on the agenda. So if anybody need to refer to it or have something, then you don't just have it orally, you had it written. So maybe we should keep up with that practice. I don't know what other people think, if that sounds good or not. Is that okay with you, Terry? Okay. We're on to bylaws.
So we've got that bylaw 2023-74 being a bylaw to amend the municipality of West Elgin, comprehensive zoning bylaw number 2015-36. Sorry, I'm on the wrong one. Property located at 22834 Kintyre Line be read a first, second, and third and final time.
Great.
Sorry.
Yeah, I've got something different.
911 address. I've got 22832.
Yeah, that's what I have. 22832.
Sorry, yes, 22832 Kintyre Line.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
I'm moving to a seconder.
I'll second that.
Okay. Richard Leatham is moved by Councillor Statham. All in favor? So carried.
And 13.2 bylaw 2023-89, zoning bylaw amendment D14-19-2023, McCollum. That bylaw 2023-89 being a bylaw to amend the municipality of West Elgin comprehensive zoning bylaw number 2015-36 for property located at 25785 McMurchie Line be read a first, second, and third and final time.
Moving to seconder. Navakis is moved, seconded by Statham. All in favor? So carried.
In favor.
13.3.
Bylaw 2023-90, zoning bylaw D14-19-2023 for Shoughton. That bylaw 2023-90 being a bylaw to amend the municipality of West Elgin comprehensive zoning bylaw number 2015-36 for property located at 26321 Crinan Line be read a first, second, and third and final time.
Moving to seconder, Councillor Denning, and seconded by Councillor Navakis. And those so moved. Are those moved? So moved. Go ahead.
Item 13.4, bylaw 2023-91, RVI Development Inc. land transfer. That bylaw 2023-91 being a bylaw to authorize the execution of an acknowledgement and direction transfer of land with RVI Development Inc. be read a first, second, third, and final time.
Moving to seconder needed.
I'll second that.
And all in favor? Carried. Okay. And 13.5.
Bylaw 2023-92, provisional bylaw for the Lamont Drain. Bylaw 2023-92 being a bylaw to provide for drainage works on the Lamont Drain in the municipality of West Elgin be read a first and second time and provisionally adopted.
Moving to seconder. Councillor Navakis, Councillor Statham, all in favor? So carried. I had a question for confirming bylaw.
Sure.
So I have down here 2023-74 at the top here.
Yes, and I apologize. That is an error that was going to be added in there and it was removed.
Okay.
That will be forthcoming on the next agenda.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just want to make sure before we go ahead if we don't miss anything.
No,
and then we have to backtrack.
Yes.
So the confirming bylaw, please.
that bylaw 2023-93 being a bylaw to confirm the proceeding of a regular meeting of council held on October 12th, 2023 be read a first, second, and third and final time.
Moving to seconder. Counselor Denning, Counselor Navakis, and all in favor? So moved. And adjournment.
That the Council of Municipality of West Elgin hereby adjourn at 5:10 p.m. to meet again on Thursday, October 26, 2023 at 4:00 p.m. or at the call of the chair.
And a mover to seconder. Counselor Navakis, Counselor Statham, and all in favor? That is so moved. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you on October 26th at 4 p.m. or at the call of the chair.